My name's Justine Ginsberg and I'm your host for Health Matters, a public health education show produced by the Farmington Valley Health District. Today we're going to talk about mental health as we age, but specifically we're going to focus on our senior population. As we age, physical changes can be part of our daily life, but it's important to understand that our mental well-being can become a challenge as we age as well, and as we deal with the inevitable changes and transitions that life brings us. So today I'd like to welcome our special guest, Jennifer Bennett, a licensed master social worker and coordinator of the Avon Senior Centre as Health Matters, at Health Matters to discuss all things mental wellness. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Justine.
So Jennifer, Connecticut is like the rest of the United States and also much of the world in that we're an aging population. This obviously brings challenges, and it would bring challenges to a town like Avon. Can you tell us what some of those emerging issues look like?
In the Avon area, I see transportation as an issue because people are, if they're not able to drive, they need to have transportation to get to their doctor's appointments, to get to their food, to if they get their hair done or want to participate in anything like the Avon Senior Center, they're going to need transportation. And thank goodness we are grant funded through our Dial-A-Ride program, but there are limitations to that program. And because Avon is in the Farmington Valley, we don't get the public transportation that other towns outside of the valley get. So transportation is an issue too.
Yeah, and you know, I think things like taxis and so on aren't as numerous as perhaps if you were living in New York City, where nobody has a car, everybody jumps on and off of the train and is able to hail a cab. I mean, I know it's certainly a problem that we face with our youth in our communities. And for them, it's obviously not being able to drive a car, they're not old enough. We don't think that that actually happens at the other end of life as well.
Yes.
So, you know, as we age, our skill base sometimes changes, our ability to drive sometimes changes. So I'd never thought about transportation as being such a big problem. Wow. So we also know that as we age, depression is one of the more common disorders that we come across. Why is this the case?
The blunt truth is that value and respect. I think that we need to value and respect our older adults because they have lived life. They have a huge history, they have knowledge, they have experience, they have seen it, they've grown up where we were in a world with no cell phones, sometimes not even telephones or televisions. And now, you know, we have all this technology where you can tell your phone anything and it will give you information. You don't even have to type it anymore. You could just speak to it. It will turn your TV on. It will turn anything on in your house if you want it to. So I think the technology has taken us away from more of the human interaction, the human contact, and I think we do need to value and respect our older adults. And I also think society, because everybody gets concerned, it's portrayed that everybody gets concerned about aging, when really there is just such amazingness in being older. You get to make these great decisions about what you want to see your life be after you've worked, you've raised your kids, maybe you're raising your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren, but you get to choose your life and you get to participate in it. You get to attend your local senior center because the Avon Senior Center is awesome. And then, and we have tons of programming for everybody. And then you get to enjoy what you've worked so hard to achieve and be and become. So.
Wow, so there's a couple of things that I want to even pick apart. Like always, on Health Matters, when Justine Ginsberg's hosting, we never stick to a script. But, you know, you raise a really interesting point about technology. When you look at what we think brings us together, we often talk about, you know, this new technology wave, how it connects people, et cetera, et cetera. We don't often think about the fact that it actually isolates people. And, you know, I know that, you know, at 45, I'm au fait with some of technology, but I'm certainly not as proficient as my children. I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like to be in your 80s or 90s and suddenly have everything from the automatic telling machines, everything we do is an app. Even at your local doctor now, your specialists have an online app. What if you can't use a computer? You know, no wonder our older adults feel like the world has sort of run off and we've lost the ability and the value to have this.
Yeah, or if you have vision issues or hearing issues or even mobility issues, you go into a doctor's office and you don't know that the way to check in is an iPad. You might not know what that means. You might not have an iPad. You might not understand. So you go and you stand at the counter because you're waiting for somebody to talk to you, and then you find out, oh, there's an iPad. I don't know how to use an iPad. I've never used an iPad. Or I can't see, so I'm not going to be able to see the screen. Or I can't hear all that well. And my vision's not so good. I don't understand. I have mobility issues. I can't stand here for 10 minutes to check myself in. So while technology is really great and it's fast and it's quick and it's super, we also have to think about the people that we're serving.
Yeah, and I suppose when you look at the developers of a lot of these apps and these devices, I think there's the desire to serve the older population, but there's not necessarily the translation and the understanding that there's an awful uncertainty that comes with a machine that has all this information about you when we're used to pen and paper.
Yeah.
I know in a lot of nursing homes and hospitals, even from the time when I was clinically nursing, everything is electronic now. I mean, you walk into a nursing home and, you know, the electronic screen outside of someone's room has their photograph and everything is barcoded and zapped and, you know, so much less interaction occurs. Is it any wonder that our older adults kind of feel adrift out there in the ocean?
Even if they know how to use the technology, it's still, to them, it was personal. You went to your doctor. There was a neighborhood doctor when you were growing up. And now things have changed, and people are trying to adjust to the change.
And, you know, the more we talk about this, the more I think about technology is great when it's working. And then when it stops working, there's this whole additional platform of trying to problem solve. How do you get that phone or that, you know, tablet to do what you need it to do? The instruction books don't even come with it. They're usually on the device.
Yes.
So you can imagine for the elderly population that can be really challenging.
But they can come to the Avon Senior Center because we have classes.
Well, I mean, that's an important thing for folks at home to understand, is that our senior centres offer a lot of intuitive programming. So recognising that technology is so much a part of the lives of our seniors now, the fact that you do that is so important. So what do those classes look like?
So we have computer learning classes for people, or even one-on-one, because some people are not class people, we understand. So we have a computer room with 4 computers, so they can come in and have an instructor and they can learn. And I'm talking the basics on up to everything. We've taught people Facebook, we've taught them eBay, we've taught them basic, you know, Microsoft. Here's the computer, here's where you turn it on, here's how you use it, here's your mouse, here's what it does, here's email, here's how to type a letter, here's how to search the internet, all of that. We also were funded by a grant through the Avon Education Foundation a couple of years ago, so we have iPads, so we've had iPad classes for the seniors. We also started a new program this summer. It's Yale Open Courses, where we you can get Yale courses for no credit, but professors put them on the internet. You can download them, and we have it on a laptop, and it projects onto our 48-inch screen TV.
Wow. So, you know, using technology in a way that is less intimidating and, you know, almost gives the recipe for our senior population to how to engage in this new platform. So I digressed. How unusual for me. I want to jump back on looking at some of the issues that our seniors face. One of the things is housing and food insecurity.
Yes.
I know that there are many populations throughout Connecticut and throughout the United States that face these difficulties. Do we have this in Avon? And how does this financial instability affect our mental well-being?
I will say yes, we do have food insecurity and financial insecurity in Avon. We have a food pantry in Avon. It's in the basement of St. Anne's Church. We also, Mobile Food Share comes to Avon twice a month, and they are serving more and more people. They're also serving more and more older adults. I can tell you that we offer benefits programs, enrollment programs at the senior center, and a lot of the seniors don't want to come and get the benefits because, well, it's a pride thing. It's also, well, we don't want to take away from the women, the children, and the families they don't realize that there's money allocated for everybody to have it, and that if they, because we don't want them to go without the basic needs. We want them to have, food and be able to have their nutrition and have their fluids and their liquids and hydrate and all these things that have to deal with health, which also do affect your mental health, because we don't want people to be dehydrated, because then that affects your medical health, but it also affects your mental health, and it also affects your brain's ability to function.
Sure. And, I think about the food instability, that in a country that has so much, that we could still have a population, and particularly our senior population, that have served and have worked and have raised children, and as you rightly pointed out, are often raising grandchildren, that they could be suffering from food insecurity is heartbreaking. And I think many people in our communities are just not sure how to access that, or how they'll be thought of if they access that. I know from having worked with you for many years, there's no stigma attached to asking for help. If anything, when you ask for help, you begin a conversation that allows us to kind of wrap around you. And, I watch with great pleasure when I watch you at the Senior Centre, and how you provide opportunities for people to give back even when they're needing assistance themselves. So just because you might need some assistance doesn't mean you're not still vital and able to contribute. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those volunteer opportunities?
We have senior volunteers doing all kinds of things. They help out in the kitchen. One of the things that is great to assist with not only financial stability and instability and food insecurity is we have a senior lunch program 2 days a week. So seniors can come. It's state, federal, and town funded program, and they can come and get a lunch for a suggested donation of $2.50 if you're over 60. If you're under 60, you do have to pay $7.50. But that's still, you get a whole entire meal for that.
And they're great meals. I have been present for those meals, and you do not walk away hungry.
They are, yes, it's full everything. And so we get volunteers to help out with that. We get volunteers to help out in our office. So someone who's retired who still wants to use their skills, doesn't want to lose them, they can come and volunteer in the office, answer the phones, help out with computer work. They can help out with a program. So one of my volunteers is 103, and she is amazing. And she is the volunteer captain, elected captain.
I think she's just earned the title.
Persuaded captain of our wee bowling team, the Avon Aces. So we have that. That's the TV bowling. And so we have that. We have people who help out with our computers, our computer learners. We're going to start some new programs, health and wellness programs, aging programs. We have interns that are running programs. So, I mean, anything, when people have a skill, we want to take their skill and we want to bring it to others. So if they come to the lunch program because they need the lunch program for the nutrition, the socialization, because we're combating depression, anxiety, and isolation, we also want to make sure that we are turning them around. If they want to give, then they give back. So they help set up, they help serve, they help clean up many different areas. And nobody knows what their needs are, because we're not going to tell anybody.
Yeah, and that's I suppose.
But we boost them by giving them a need.
Absolutely, and I think the confidentiality part is incredible as well. Working with you again over the years, how wonderfully you lift up the community members at the Senior Centre, and what happens in your office stays in your office. It's not for the consumption of anybody else, but you have an incredibly strong, thriving community of people who genuinely care about one another. They're kind of a family away from a family. One of the things I wanted to touch on as well as we're talking about, some of the mental health challenges that our senior population suffer. We often know that medications that we can take for physical conditions as we age can have a really detrimental effect on our mental health and our mental well-being. How often do you see this, and what are some of the things that a family can do if they see this happening in one of their loved ones who's a part of a senior population?
One of the things that we have to look at with people of any age, but specifically our older adults, is you have your primary doctor, and then if you have a condition, let's say you have a cardiac condition, a heart condition, or concerns, you're seeing a cardiologist. And then maybe if you have diabetes, you're seeing an endocrinologist. So anything that you have, you're seeing your primary doctor and you're seeing a specialist. And everybody may be prescribing different medications or supplements or vitamins or over-the-counter things to take. You really need to understand what you're taking, why you're taking it, when you're taking it, what doctor prescribed it. All your doctors need to know what you're taking, everything, and your pharmacist needs to know. Because sometimes you don't realize that a supplement or a vitamin or an over-the-counter could have some sort of an interaction that could be affecting your mental health. It could also be affecting your mood, where your mood is changing. It might go up and down. Or you're on a medicine, maybe it's a new medicine, and it's not working well. And it may be supposed to help your mood, but because it's not the right medicine, it just, everything interacts. So I think it's important to get away the stigma. Who cares what medicine you're on? Tell the people that it's important to tell. Write it down, keep it in your wallet, your purse if you're someone who carries a purse, whatever. Have it in your house, have it on your refrigerator, have it in your, like the File of Life or Vial of Life, whatever brand you choose to use, have it, have all the information. And
you have that available at the Senior Centre too. If people need the File of Life, which actually next time we're on, we'll actually bring it with us, but it's a little folder that sticks on your refrigerator that allows you to put all that contact information and all that information about medications. You know, one of the other things I think is important to touch on is people that take medications for depression. Antidepressants don't work immediately. Often we admit to taking, we admit to being depressed, we go and see our doctor and our doctor will try a medication. We often expect an instant fix and get incredibly discouraged when 3 or 4 days later we're not feeling any better. You're just another tool for our population to come and talk to about how they're feeling, why isn't this working, because I think offering reassurance can be vitally important in helping people to deal with depression and that low mood that sometimes occurs as part of the aging process or as a result of those medications. Shifting gears to an incredibly serious topic, depression is not always something that is fleeting. It's not always something that is easy to rise above, and even with the best of assistance, sometimes we can end up in a really dark space. We know that we do a lot of work in suicide prevention at the Farmington Valley Health District, and one of the sad and scary statistics is that related to people 65 plus and suicide. Can you tell us a little bit more about why we're so at risk as we age?
One of the things that people don't realize too is that older adults, it is so high, the suicide, because they're the ones that are completing it. So it is registered. And men over the age of 85, they are more likely to attempt and commit suicide. So you do get in a dark place, as you said, and these are things we have to look at. We have to look at what an older adult is going through. So there's loss. There could be loss of their job, employment, loss of their home. Maybe because as they age, they can't stay where they were living. They have to change their living environment. Loss of maybe family members, because we're living longer now. And so with that comes people, I mean, if you have a 103-year-old senior at your senior center like I do, obviously the children of the older adult are also seniors themselves. So, you know, sometimes you can outlive your friend. Children will pass away, grandchildren, or, life will happen. You have financial instability, you have food insecurity. So you have a lot of these things because you didn't know you were going to live this long. You just have a lot of these things that just keep coming on you and coming on you. And then when you get depression, some people will isolate themselves in their home. They don't want to come out. So now the depression has gone even further. And then we have anxiety. And then we also can slip into not wanting to go out, not taking care of ourselves, not eating right, drinking right, all of these things. And then we get to that point where we think, because we've lost our value, or we've lost our perceived value because we don't know we're valuable. And that's when these things happen.
Yeah, and I think you've just beautifully gone through a checklist of some of the things we need to be aware of as community and family members of signs of depression and warning signs of the loved ones in our lives that are aging, and touch points in their aging process that can be a cause for concern, and that as family members, as community members, as people who work in local businesses and establishments and know our senior population, we all need to be aware of these signs. We all need to be aware of how at risk this population is. They have served us over their lifetime. Our time has come to step up and to help them to remember just how valuable they are, just how important they are, and I think sometimes it's just giving them time, allowing them to talk. Modern life kind of catapults forward at a rapid pace. And we sometimes forget that as we age, we have stories we want to tell. We have things we need to share. And as the younger generation, we need to make space and time for that. It's one of the things at the Senior Centre you are so good at, providing opportunities for seniors to share their experiences. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what a family can do if they're concerned about the well-being of a senior in their life? How can they use the Senior Centre as a place of assistance?
I think if you're concerned about someone and their mental health, their well-being, maybe they are depressed, they're isolating, their habits have changed in a way that's not positive. I think you do need to let somebody know, if they are a member of the Senior Center, even if they're not, and it doesn't matter if they live in Avon or not, you can come and talk to us because we want to get people involved. We want to help them before we read about them in the paper. We don't want to do that. If we can help them, get them involved, find someone who can check on them, call them, get them to come out to the center. If they don't drive, let's link them up with Dial-A-Ride or a neighbor that can assist them. Maybe we can go visit them in their home and then get to know them, build a relationship, and then get them to come out and then come to things. Find out what they like to do, what they used to do. See if there's something they're going to try for the very first time. Like we had this lovely lady who came. She thought she was going to take chair yoga. It doesn't start yet. We had her painting rocks because we were painting inspirational rocks for the center, and she was able to paint rocks. So we met her for the first time, and now
she's a rock painter.
And now she's painting rocks, and she has a good sense of humor. So we're using her sense of humor. And we're going to get her involved in a bunch of other stuff because she moved from the West Coast.
Oh, wow. So in like 30 seconds, can you, as always, we run out of time, can you give us a little bit of a wrap of some of the things coming up in the Avon Senior Centre before we come to a close?
Because we're trying to look at the mind, body, and spirit at the Senior Center, we have programs for the mind. So we have the Open Yale courses. We have card games, Scrabble games. We have Thinking Thursdays where we do word searches. We do crossword puzzles. So we're stimulating the brain. We have the computers, the iPads, all of that. We also have puzzles. For those who want to have fun, we have billiards and pool. We also have this great volunteer who's teaching us this new way to learn how to play pool, billiards. I'm learning too. And also we have exercise classes of all different levels.
Oh my goodness. So it's all happening at the Avon Senior Centre, let me tell you. So as we discovered today, our mental well-being is just as important as our physical health as we age. But often it's something we don't talk about. Whilst it's normal to talk about our physical challenges, many of us have been embarrassed or afraid to discuss how we're feeling and I think today that we certainly discovered that feeling down or blue is definitely a normal part of aging. But we need to ask for help when we're feeling this way. Talking about how we feel and asking for help when we need it is a strong and healthy attitude to have. There are many people in our community who spend their careers working to improve the lives of our senior citizens, and I want to thank Jennifer Bennett for joining us today. I hope she comes back because we have plenty more to discuss. If you have any questions about today's show, please feel free to reach out to the Avon Senior Centre or to contact us at Farmington Valley at www.fvhd.org or on our Facebook page at FVHD. If you or anyone you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts or ideations, please reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. The number is 1-800-273-8266, or please seek emergency assistance at any major hospital emergency department or dial 911. Please remember, suicide prevention is everybody's business. We thank you for watching today, and until next time, remember that your greatest wealth is your health.